Hello everybody and welcome to Tiger Tales, a place you'll find stories and fanfictions written and read to you by your host, me, Tai Tiger. And of course, welcome to Power Rangers Universe 113. This is where we have an ongoing universe starting with Power Rangers Feud Foundation and spawning off into multiple different stories, including this one, Kamen Rider Gaim, or my adaptation of it at least. So, last we saw Ichigo and Itachi are now both Kamen Riders. Ichigo being Kamen Rider Gaim, and Itachi became Kamen Rider Baron, and they both have lock seeds, but an Inves did get away from them. So, in this chapter, hopefully they get the Inves. Let's find out.
Welcome to Universe 113. Many tales are told here. Some you may recognize like the Power Rangers Future Foundation. Some are new. This universe was separated into two parts, yin and yang. One is normal, the other hosts a war between technology and magic. Here we find more Ranger teams, a few Kamen Riders, and the introduction to a new level of Ranger power, known as the Apex Grid. Get ready for tales beyond any other as we dive into Power Rangers Universe 113.
Kamen Rider Gaim, Chapter 3, A Feud Between Friends. The city was crawling with wasp soldiers. They marched around in groups in search of the lost Inves. Ichigo and Itachi are walking around the city as well, checking out the alleyways, the back routes, the local parks, and dog walking trails. "Dude, this is useless," Itachi moaned. "Hey, your dad put us up to this," Ichigo replied. The boys are walking through a trail. They could see some of the helicopters in the air. Some of them were wasp patrols. Others were the news reporters trying to figure out what was going on. The whole city was on edge. The Inves attack on the mansion the night beforehand had gotten out, and everybody found out about it, and they didn't know about the Inves, luckily. "So, how's your brother doing?" Ichigo asked him as he peeked through a huge bush. "Kyodai? Oh, yeah, he's okay. He spends his time daydreaming of joining the company, which is, a bad idea," Ichigo muttered. "Why? I thought your whole dad's thing was to have his sons work for the family business," Ichigo replied mockingly. "Oh no, he wants us to move to another branch. Kyodai wouldn't be able to run anything. Mum had his disease and died at the age of 32. He'll most likely follow the same path," Ichigo barked. "Okay, don't mention Kyodai. I got it," Ichigo sighed. "Sorry man, this whole Kamen Rider thing is stressing me out," Itachi said as they started walking up a huge set of concrete stairs. "Why? We're heroes," Ichigo called out. "Dude, shut up," Itachi snapped. Ichigo started laughing. They walked down past the lighthouse and found a hot dog stand. "Hey, come on, I'll buy you one, just to shut you up," Itachi muttered. "Okay, yeah, sure," Ichigo sighed. Both of them walked up to the stand and Itachi ordered both of them a hot dog, when suddenly the lighthouse started flickering. Itachi and Ichigo looked up like everyone else and watched as the light started flickering more. Then suddenly there was an explosion from the top of the lighthouse, and something came flying out of the lighthouse and crashed on the floor. Everyone screamed and started panicking and running away. Both the boys watched as the ball of scorched grass and smoke, the Inves, stood. "Well, I found the Inves," Ichigo muttered as he pointed at it. Itachi pulled out the walkie-talkie. "Dad, we got it," Itachi muttered into the walkie-talkie, then he tossed it to one side. Both the boys ran up to the Inves and pulled out their drivers and placed them on their waist, and the belts appeared. "You ready, dude?" Ichigo asked. "Yeah, let's get this over with," Itachi muttered. Ichigo held up the lock seed. "Henshin!" he barked. Then he pressed the side of the lock seed and unlocked. He then slotted the lock seed into the driver belt and slammed the lock down, locking it once again.
Lock on!
Then he flicked the handle of the knife mechanism up, and the blade went down and hit the lock seed. The front part of the lock seed fell forward and hung there, now revealing an orange insignia on both the top and bottom halves of the lock seed. A portal opened above Ichigo, in the form of a zip, unzipping a circular portal. An orange-shaped armoured dome floated out of the portal and placed itself over Ichigo's head as the under-armour of the rider suit formed around him. The orange-shaped dome unfolded around his torso and shoulders and slotted into place, forming his armoured chest plate and shoulder pads. Ichigo had become
Orange Arms Hanabichi on stage!
Kamen Rider Gaim. Itachi held up the lock seed. "Henshin!" he barked. Then he pressed the side of the lock seed and it unlocked. He then slotted the lock seed into the drive belt and slammed the lock down, locking it once again.
Lock on!
Then he flipped the handle of the knife mechanism up, the blade went down and hit the lock seed. The front part of the lock seed fell forward and hung there, now revealing a banana insignia on the top and bottom halves of the lock seed. A portal opened above the Tachi, and in the form of a zip unzipping a circular portal. A banana-shaped armoured dome floated out of the portal, then it placed itself over Tachi's head, as the under-armour of the rider suit formed around him. The banana-shaped dome unfolded around his torso and shoulders and slotted into place, forming his armoured chest plate and shoulder pads. Itachi had become...
Come on! Banana arms!
Kamen Rider Baron. Kamen Rider Gaim and Kamen Rider Baron both ran at the Inves. The Inves shot several purple energy shots from its mouth. Both Kamen Riders were struck and knocked down to the ground. Then Baron stood and ran at the Inves. It struck it several times and punched it twice, then kicked at it, but the Inves blocked it, then swung its fist and struck Baron away. He fell to the floor. Gaim helped him up. "We need to fight together," Gaim muttered. "Yeah, sure," Baron nodded. Then both of them summoned their weapons, and once again charged at the Inves. Baron jabbed the Inves with the banner spear, striking the Inves, making it stumble back. Then Gaim came in with both his swords and slashed the Inves. Baron jumped overhead and slammed the spear down, then spun himself around, tripping the Inves with the tip of the spear. Gaim jumped overhead and slashed the Inves, then both Kamen Riders both jumped back. Then Gaim removed his lock from his belt and slotted it into the Muso spear. Then he locked the lock seed once again, and the sword started glowing, and then he swung the sword twice, and the orange energy wave sent flying towards the monster. Baron jumped in the way and held out his spear, blocking the two energy slices. The wave diminished, leaving Baron there. "Dude, what are you doing?" Gaim barked in confusion. "I will deal the final blow," Baron sneered. Then he slammed his hand on the knife several times, and the knife sliced down in front of the banana lock seed on the driver belt. The energy from the driver belt revved to life. "Banana squash!" the driver belt called out. Then Baron ran at the Inves and jabbed the tip of the spear into the Inves. A gigantic energy banana formed from the attack. Baron then spun around and slashed the Inves, and the energy banana shattered, and the Inves exploded. Baron stood there victorious and chuckled to himself. Gaim then ran up to him and punched him softly in the shoulder. "Dude, what were you doing? What was that about?" Gaim muttered. Baron then shoved Gaim backwards and aimed the spear at Gaim. "Dude, what the hell's your problem?" Gaim barked. "I'm sick of you thinking you're the hero. I just defeated the Inves. I'm the head of the company. I'm my father's son. Not you!" Baron screamed. "I never said anything," Gaim stuttered. "Shut up!" Baron barked back. Then Baron swung his spear and Gaim raised his sword, defending himself. Both weapons collided, as Gaim blocked the attack with his orange sword. Baron then jabbed at Gaim repeatedly. Gaim blocked each strike, but managed to get hit by the last one. He stumbled backwards. Baron stabbed the spear into the ground and swung himself up and flailed his foot at Gaim. Gaim stood there on the defense. "I'm not fighting you," Gaim barked. Baron slammed his spear into the ground, setting a shockwave. Gaim jumped up into the air and soared over Baron, dodging the attack. He landed on the ground and rolled to secure his landing. Gaim turned around and demorphed. Baron's spear came incredibly close to Ichika's face. Baron stood there for a moment and withdrew his spear. Ichika let out a sigh of relief as Baron demorphed as well. "Sorry," Itachi muttered under his breath. "No, dude, it's fine. I get it, you're under a lot of stress," Ichika chuckled. Then a squad of Wasp soldiers came running in. "Sir, we found them," one said into his comms. The boys were escorted back to Suki Corporation's building, where they found Mr. Suki sat at his desk on the top floor of a tall skyscraper. "Hello there, boys. Well done for your success. A little quieter next time, if that's possible. When it comes to morphing and stuff, yeah? Don't want to draw attention to ourselves," Mr. Suki said with a weak smile. "Sorry, kinda spur of a moment kinda thing," Ichika replied. "Understandable," Mr. Suki nodded. "Dad, now what do we do?" Itachi muttered. "You two do nothing. Go back to being children. I'll go to the crack and back to the site and find out what's going on. I'll investigate further. Those Inves might come back. We don't know those creatures, and we don't know what happens when they arrive. Seems to come out of nowhere," If they do pop up again, I will contact you, Mr. Suki ordered. Itachi sighed and rolled his eyes. Fine, he grunted, then walked off, leaving the office. See you, sir, Ichigo said with a salute, then he bolted off and followed Itachi. They both entered the elevator and Itachi pressed the ground floor button. Thanks for not telling Dad about my little lash out back there, Itachi sighed. No problem, dude, Ichigo told him. Later that afternoon, Itachi walked into the mansion and stormed upstairs. He walked up to Kyodai's door and took a deep breath and knocked on it. Yo, Kyo! I thought maybe we could play a few rounds of Pavement Brawler, Itachi called out. Then he knocked again, and was met with complete silence. He then pushed his brother's door open and found an empty room. Itachi walked in with a quick stride, and panic started to raise within him. He checked the ensuite bathroom and found it empty as well. He then was about to leave the room when something caught his eye. Kyodai loved to draw. His pictures were fantastic. When he felt up to it, he could draw amazing things. He loved to draw heroes, Power Rangers especially now that they came back. Itachi walked up to Kyodai's desk and found pictures of the Inves, and rough sketches of Kamen Rider Baron. Oh crap, does he know about me? About Ichigo? Itachi muttered. Then he moved the picture to one side and found a map. The city. The Dark Forest. Kyodai had drawn a big red circle over the destination of the rift. Kyodai. Please don't tell me you're headed to the Dark Forest, Itachi muttered. Itachi pulled out his phone and dialed a number. Hey, we've got a big problem, he muttered as he stared at the map. And there we have it, guys. Our next chapter in the Kamen Rider Gaim. Again, just a loose adaptation. If you're enjoying this story, you might want to go check out Power Rangers Universe 19, hosted by Cosmic Dude 637, and you can find it wherever you find podcasts. You'll find more Power Rangers storylines and Kamen Rider adaptations as well. That being said, make sure you check out Mark the Red Cornish Ranger and his podcast Naruto Comics, because you'll find Universe 20 storylines there. See, we are the Three Ranger Bros, and collaboratively all our universes are linked, so you might want to go check it all out. It's a fantastic, ongoing, massive storyline, technically. A big shout out to the Zero to Hero Network and their podcast, a big shout out to If You Give a Dad podcast, and a big shout out to the Authors Crown YouTube channel. Make sure you check out the rest of Power Rangers Universe 113, and if you're enjoying this story, then maybe check out the rest of Tiger Tales. There are also other YouTube channels as well that are Tiger Tales and have different forms of stories. Tiger Tales Lost Stories, Tiger Tales Game Over, and Tiger Tales Mysterious Origins, just to name a few. There you'll find all sorts of fan fictions and original content, so you might want to go check out them so you can find and listen to more stories. That being said, don't subscribe to this channel, and of course, I shall see you guys in the next one.
Don't touch my Pringles.